Hi everybody, my name is Jeremy Siskin. I'm the author of Jazz Piano Fundamentals, as well as playing solo jazz piano. And today I'm doing something maybe a little bit self-indulgent, but I think something that many of you will enjoy. I want to talk you through one of my favorite tunes that I've ever written. Why I like it, what makes it work, what makes it tick. So hopefully it'll inspire you a little bit in your compositional processes, or maybe you'll just be able to appreciate some different things going on in music. Let me see, actually. So I recorded this recently on an album called Duotones with a trumpeter named Tony Guerrero, and I'll play that recording for you. So this tune is called Thinking About My Soul, which sometimes to me is an overly heavy title. But just to explain what I mean by that, to me, when I experience great art, whether it's literature, music, painting, it brings me out of this just kind of daily grind sort of feeling, thinking about, oh, where's my next meal? How's my bank account doing? And I start thinking about those really profound things. So I wanted to write this tune as an invitation to the audience members, to the listeners, to get out of that kind of everyday sort of thing. And as sort of a tribute also to the art and the artists that I love that get me to do that. So this is what I like about this tune, what I'm really proud of about this tune, is that it's a really complex mixture between very traditional things and very non-traditional things. So, for instance, it's an AABA form, but as you're going to see, each section is doing kind of unusual things within that AABA form. I think it's a singable melody, and yet it's a really unpredictable and surprising melody, I think. And it's got these pretty standard section lengths. Like this first section is 16 measures in total. But as you're going to see, it achieves that in less predictable ways. So let me start. I'll play you a little solo piano version so you can hear it, get to know the tune, and then I want to break some of these things down for you. So here's a little bit of Thinking About My Soul. And here's the bridge. And there's a coda, which I'll show you maybe in a bit. But let's focus on this AABA portion. So like I said, this first section is 16 measures. And if you look just at the chords, it seems a little bit random. We've got F, we're definitely in F major. E flat is somewhat related, but then we're going all the way to A flat, we're going all the way to G flat. It's kind of going all over the place. But this is one of those instances where I think it's the melody rather than the chords that are really holding this together. Because if we look at the melody, this much is clearly in F major, harmonized in some different ways. And then this much is in like F natural minor. Or we could think of it as A flat major, the relative major. So we're going like F major, F minor. Everything really fits inside those two keys, and then I harmonize it in some different ways. Now, it also seems pretty traditional in terms of the 16 measure phrasing, but within that first 16 measures, we've got kind of weird phrases, right? I should say that we normally think of phrases as being even numbers, 2 measures, 4 measures. That's what we mainly expect out of phrases. But you can see this last phrase is clearly 3 measures. And also it's kind of weird harmonic rhythm. It's weird to just stop on a chord for 3 whole measures, where, when previously everything had really been going along, motoring along at 1 chord per measure. So that's kind of unusual. We could kind of debate what some of these other phrases are. We kind of have a mixture of like 3 and 4 measure phrases in there. And then the second A starts very similarly, but goes in some different places. So it starts with the same melody, but different harmonization, right? Compare measure 17 here to measure 1. The melody is the same for the first 3 measures, but the harmony is different. At the beginning, it's... And then the second time, it's a little bit different. And from there, it goes into a different direction. And again, we get a lot of these kind of 3 measure phrases. We could probably debate exactly where the phrases are happening, but it's certainly not 2, 2, 2, and 2. It's much more complex than that. And here, we end on, let's see, measure 28, 29, 28, 29, 30, 31. So this is a 15 measure phrase. Quite a bit weirder than the 16 measure phrase before. Then the bridge is really kind of the most interesting part to me. So, the tune is in F. So we would expect to go to maybe D minor, B flat major, or some other related key. But here it goes to C sharp minor. I imagine it like as a complete, you're watching a movie and the screen just wipes and a new scene emerges. So it's just totally different. And why does this work? Well, one reason is that the melodic content is so closely related to the melodic content of the beginning. Like we started there. So it feels familiar, even though the harmony is so different. And here we have very clear phrasing. 4 measures, and then 3 measures. I intentionally cut off what would be 1 measure of this phrase. 4 measures again. It's the same melody as the first 4 measures, but a reharmonization. Instead of going to F sharp, it goes to D. And very similarly, the second and fourth phrases start the same and just go slightly different directions. So here's the bridge, if you want to listen to it. This is also 15 measures. Here's your 3 measure phrase. And then this last A is very much like the first one, except I've cut off part at the end because we're kind of making a loop. This is going to loop all the way back to the beginning. Listen from 47. And then it goes back from C to F. And that's where you'd start the solo. So it never quite comes to a rest. It forms a cyclical thing. And so that last A section is, let's see, 4, 8, only 10 measures. So it ends out being pretty uneven. 16, 15, 15, and then 10 for this AABA form. And yet, hopefully, I feel like you can feel and hear the form very clearly. Now, my favorite part of that piece, though, is the coda or the outro. And I just kind of like this melody. It's a very pentatonic melody, and it alternates between two different key centers. I imagine it like kind of constantly freshening. Like you have your start appetizer, and then you have a fruit course, and then you have your salad, and then you have a juice or something to keep your palate fresh. So listen to how this outro sounds. And we would keep alternating between these two sections so that it constantly keeps being refreshed. And oftentimes I would play a drum solo, or I wouldn't play the drum solo. We would have a drum solo in a trio. But since the recording you're about to hear on Duotones, product plug, is just piano and trumpet, what I ended up having Tony do, the trumpet player, was to just improvise in these spaces. So it's a little bit less dynamic maybe than having a drum solo. The drum solo can really, raise the dynamic level. But I think it turned out really quite nicely. So that's my guide to this piece, thinking about my soul. And I want to play this recording from the album Duotones for you now. And I'll keep this lead sheet in front of you so that you can follow along. I hope you enjoy Thinking About My Soul from the album Duotones, featuring me and Tony Guerrero. Thank you for listening. I really appreciate those of you who check this video out and listen to that recording. Proud of that whole album, Duotones. We play a lot of nice stuff, I think. And you could hear that the sound that Tony gets is beautiful, and the piano I was playing was really nice. So check that one out. I'll put a link in the comments. And I also want to give you guys this PDF. If you want to try playing this tune, I would, of course, be honored. Send me your recordings. I want to hear them. And if you've watched this far, use some version of the word soul, any spelling that you like, any context that you like, in your comments for the video. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for watching.